Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Cooper. I'm a faculty at NKU, and my research is primarily focused in algae. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the aquatic resources we have here at the NKU's field station. There are several ponds throughout the property, and they range from containing water for most of the year to some of them actually lose water, so they only get water from rainfall. You can see there's a range of aquatic plants on the surface. Here we have these small, tiny little aquatic plants, lemna, that occurs on the very top of the water. These are one of the smallest angiosperms. That's a flowering plant. You can also see that there's a little bit of algae growing in the pond as the seasons start to change. Back in the background, we have some rushes in the back, as well as a lot of plants up along the edge. So what I'm going to show you is how we can actually collect algae. The best tool that you can find is a turkey baster, and that's sort of like my very large pipette. And so I'm going to show you sort of how we can sample algae in our little wetland areas, sort of that back pond of REFS. So we can sort of scrape along the edge, little places in here, and what we're trying to do is gather where that algae might be living, and maybe even some aquatic plants. Like we have this little aquatic plant here, all covered in algae. Okay, so we're probably going to sample that and look at that later under the microscope. Okay, and what I'm going to show you next is how we can actually collect some macroinvertebrates.
Hi everyone, my name is Liz. I work for SC1. I'm an aquatic biologist there. I'm a community partner with NKU. I work with a lot of different faculty there. And today I'm going to show you how to take a sample using a D-net and looking for macroinvertebrates. So essentially what you want to do is you want to find some habitat, some structure. You want to put it in there and just kind of swish it around. Let's see what we got. It's a little bit muddy. I don't know if you can see anything. And if it gets clogged, you just swish it around. I don't know. But we can always take this back and go through it and see what we can find.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can try another one.
Maybe over here in this, maybe these aquatic plants, maybe? Yeah. I don't know if that would be better habitat.
See if we can rustle up some things. Oh, there's a little bug. Where did it go? Oh, there we go.
Oh, it's a little dragonfly.
It's a little tiny, it's a little baby guy, so it's probably this year's.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, that looks great.
So this guy would probably live
Whoop.
2 to 5 more years in the pond until he becomes an adult and flies away.
Wow, that's really cool. Is there anything else in there?
Little tiny beetles.
Oh yeah, I can see there's a little diving beetle.
Yep.
You can grab that one. Probably have to work quickly because it's going to want to go.
Yep.
Look at that little diving beetle.
Go, go, go.
Whoop. Looks great.
Okay, let's see if we can find couple more things.
And depending on the year, we find a lot of amphibians in here. We find fishes. We find maybe something exciting because Liz found something. Oh, look at this little guy. Look at that very little beautiful tadpole. Yep, we can see its little tail. Oh, it's flopping around.
Flopping around.
Yep.
You can see its little mouth on the bottom. Use
To scrape algae.
Mm-hmm.
Yum.
To eat the stuff that Josh studies.
Yeah. Man, there's little all kinds of things in here.
Yeah.
And depending on the year, we can find different types of organisms in these ponds at REFS. Liz is finding lots of things now. Oh wow, there's quite a few tadpoles now. We just hit the tadpole jackpot. A couple other little guys. Ooh, that's something. Oh, look at that. Oh, that little dragonfly.
Another little dragonfly.
There's a bunch of them now. They're just all hiding from us.
Yes.
Great. Wonderful. So we wish you guys could come out with us, but you'll see that REFS has just a variety of habitats to sample, which is why our students and our faculty get to use this place and do lots of experiments and look for sort of maintaining the biodiversity of our field station.
Okay, so we're doing What's in Your Pond here at NKU REFS, part of our virtual Nature Adventure Day. And these are some of the organisms that Dr. Cooper and Liz found while they were out in the pond, right? There's Liz from SD1 and Dr. Cooper from NKU. And as you can see, there's a lot of brown stuff in the pond. However, if you look closely, you're going to see that this, whoop, and he just disappeared. Well, at least partly, we see his tail. That is a tadpole, right? And this tadpole is, by the looks of it, a green frog tadpole. See if we can get him back into view on the big screen. He disappears so easily. There. So you can see.
So how can you tell what species or what type of tadpole it is?
Well, a lot of times, you have to look at several components, and if we did a really close look to look for the species. But one of the things is to look at the eyes and see if, when you're looking down on top of it, if the eyes extend over the edge of the body, or if they stay lateral, or if they stay what's called dorsal, if they stay within that. We would look at, I'm looking at a little bit on the spots. You can see that it's looking around a little bit. And so you see spots like this on some of the green frog tadpoles as they develop. A lot of those will become more blotchy later on. We would have to flip the tadpole over, and we would look at the vent where it kind of goes to the bathroom to see what side of the tail that's on.
Wow.
And in fact, you'll see that there's this movement around the front part of the head. Well, the tadpole is pulling water in through its mouth, and it's having it exit it out through the side. There's a little hole there called the siphon. And so depending on the tadpole, they have siphons on the left side, maybe on the right side. Sometimes they have two of them.
Wow, that's really
incredible.
incredible.
It's pretty interesting. The other thing is, and a big component of identification, is to look at the mouth part. So if we were to turn the tadpole over, it has a beak, like a bird almost.
Wow.
And then above and below that, it's got what are called tooth rows. And these look like combs, really. And they use that, and they scrape algae off from rocks. And so they're kind of detritivores. They feed on algae and dead organic matter in the pond. A lot of times they'll scrape the slime off from that. And look at there. It just walked and kind of swam right through. That was a little diving beetle that was also in the pond. something else is coming in. Oh, look
Ooh,
at this.
What a nice dragonfly.
Look at this. This is, although very cryptic, that is a dragonfly larvae.
What does cryptic mean?
Cryptic means that it's camouflage, right? See how it blends right in with all the other dirt? So, and it's a predatory macroinvertebrate. So this is the larval form of the big dragonflies that fly around the ponds in the summer, and then it'll overwinter in this larval stage, and then it will feed on other invertebrates, other macroinvertebrates, the other insect larvae that swim around in the water, whatever they can get.
So it stays a teenager for a really long time.
It does, and depending on sometimes who gets to the pond first, to who gets bigger, they can feed on tadpoles when they're really tiny.
Oh wow!
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, in some cases, in the tropics, for example, the tadpoles will feed on the dragonfly larvae if they're big enough.
Oh wow!
So it depends on who gets there to the pond
Interesting.
first, as to who gets.
Do any of these frogs eat dragonflies potentially? These little
Not as a larval form.
Great, got it.
Right?
But
You
as
know,
an adult,
as
maybe.
an adult they would.
Interesting.
Right? You can see him moving around a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really camouflaged in there. It's almost a little hard to see.
Very camouflaged, right? And they have. Oh, there he goes. He's still here, but you can see that they have 6 legs because it's an insect. They have a head, what's called the thorax, kind of the main part of the body. See if I can get that in focus. It's going to go in focus. And that's as best as we can get. And then the back part of the body is the abdomen. And then these have a bunch of segments, and so as it moves back and forth, you'll see those segments moving.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's the kind of things that are in your pond. So we thank Dr. Cooper and Liz for helping out with showing us what's in your pond. Come to REFS next year, and we'll have an in-person nature adventure day.
Sounds great.